let's register on the electoral list. This is a message from Equinoxe Television.
Boko Haram militants launched a devastating attack on Cameroonian soldiers in the locality known as Wulgo, a border town between Cameroon and Nigeria, leaving more than 10 soldiers dead and 20 others severely injured. The armed men disguised as herders ambushed the military post in a surprise attack that lasted for 2 hours. And now we'll talk politics. CPDM activist lYONGA is taking a bold step by demanding an ordinary Congress to nominate the party's candidate for the 2025 presidential election. Onana's primary concern is that the party's current leadership mandate has expired, dating back to 2011. He firmly believes that this expired mandate has resulted in a significant lack of representation for the youth and stagnation of the party's leadership. Those are top stories. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is the 6 p.m. edition of the Primetime Newscast on Equinoxe Television. Stay with us. Thank you so much for choosing us for presentation. I am Immaculate Fokwe. Another deadly attack orchestrated by Boko Haram terrorists has left at least 10 Cameroonian soldiers dead, with several others severely injured. The incident occurred in Wulgo, located at the Cameroon and Nigerian border. The armed men, according to reports, ambushed the Cameroonian military who were stationed in Wulgo. Eseru has more.
The Boko Haram militants, disguised as herders and traders, launched a series of deadly attacks where the Cameroonian military were stationed in Wulgo near the Cameroon and Nigeria border. As a result, at least 10 Cameroonian soldiers were killed and several others severely injured by the Boko Haram terrorists. The overnight surprise assault, according to sources, lasted for 2 hours, during which the Boko Haram militants set ablaze military bases and seized heavy weapons. A military source also indicated that the attackers with firearms arrived in large numbers, having control of the Cameroonian military. Meantime, local authorities have noted that the death toll remains uncertain as investigations are ongoing. The Lake Chad Basin since 2014 has been plagued by the Boko Haram insurgency, leading to more than 40,000 deaths and the displacement of 2 million people, as reported by the United Nations.
And the United States Embassy has sent its sincere condolences to the families of these victims while condemning the outrageous attack. Now to something else. Inhabitants of Vite, it is a neighborhood in Mogode subdivision, Mayutenaga division of the Far North region, have taken to the streets to express their outrage over the installation of a chief by local authorities. The protesters claim that the installation disregards the norms and regulations of the ancestral traditions. Siri Chakuto brings to you details of this unfolding story.
In Vite Mogode subdivision, Mayutenaga division of the Far North region, inhabitants are expressing their frustration and anger over the installation of a new lawan imposed by local authorities. According to them, the decision was made without consulting the local leaders and officially announcing a vacancy at the throne. Residents who were taken by surprise are refusing to have a chief imposed on them. We are here to express our frustration after the appointment of a third-class chief in a rather peculiar manner that doesn't fit with the regulations and our traditions. After the death of the former chief, no vacancy was announced. The notables were not consulted, and once of a sudden, we are announced the installation of a chief, which they are imposing on us. Que les notables n'ont pas désigné. Due to the protest, a reconciliation meeting had been called by the senior divisional officer of the locality to ease tension and restore peace. A meeting later cancelled. In a 1977 decree, the standard states that the vacancy should be declared after the death of a chief, but none of this was done.
Le chef du village, je ne sais pas. Logiquement, c'est la guerre qu'on veut.
I don't know if it's war we want between the daughters and sons of Vitae or reconciliation. We are here for this reconciliation, but nothing till now has been done. The fight over the chieftaincy has created an atmosphere of instability in the locality, affecting the smooth functioning of economics and social amenities like schools, trading and farming. Students in the area say they can no longer study effectively because they are constantly afraid or caught in the wave of violence.
And we'll leave the Far North region to the Lithura region, where inhabitants of North Makumbe subdivision and Camp division reveal they have lived for 5 years now without electric energy supply. They feel abandoned and sidelines from President Pobia's development drive, as Innocent Aze tells us.
It is 5 years now that inhabitants of 5 villages making up North Makumbe subdivision in the Camp division of the Lithura region, that is Ndobian, Njongo, Ndoto 1, Ndoto 3 and Ndoto Kwakwak, have been living in darkness.
Na 5 years we not get again lambo, we deal with the suffer.
This notable says all the electric cables and poles are on the ground. No one cares about their well-being.
For don't all, we know how we will do. Tell we know, master.
Life in the day is dead and businesses requiring electric energy to function inactive. At night, students are obliged to slumber till dawn since they cannot study at night.
Begin them for school day. Begin them no land for you can say lamb not for week.
Apart from this, these villages in North Makumbe do not have motorable roads to ease mobility of persons and transportation of agricultural produce to commercial centers.
Parents so they suffer. Mommy they suffer.
Well, look how we do for we suffer very all. For 5 village we do for ya. From the to we did less we suffer.
Also lacking in the villages are potable water and bridges to enable the population easily cross the stream to connect with other localities.
When I look how we do, we don't die less so. I have to tell you, we don't die.
With all these basic social amenities almost absent in North Makumbe, particularly electric energy, the inhabitants implore concern from the head of state.
You know to work again for we beg again. Chef de l'État say we beg you, say vraiment you look we again.
Other expectations of the population are provision of good hospitals, schools and other public services.
And now we talk politics. Opposition, political and civil society leaders are urging the Cameroonian government to stop violating the Constitution of the Republic and other national and international laws signed and ratified by the state. With regard to the forthcoming presidential elections, they are warning that such actions of intimidation by some government authorities and institutions could provoke chaos. A recent case is that of the special advisor to Professor Maurice Kamto, president of the Cameroon Renaissance Movement political party, Albert Zongang, summoned and questioned for speaking out his thoughts. Babila Jonathan reports.
Through this administrative summons, political leader Albert Zongang, special advisor to Professor Maurice Kamto, president of the Cameroon Renaissance Movement CRM political party, was invited to the office of the Senior Division Officer of the Wuri Division, March 25, 2025, without any reason mentioned in it. He was received and questioned by a panel of 12 administrative and security officials.
They called me because of my declaration against the Minister of Administration Territorial. And after an hour of discourse, they informed me that I should go and meet the collegium to continue the discussion. What I did. But when I arrived there, they tell me that they call me to interrogate me. I asked, interrogate me above what? If you have not that, I should come with my lawyers. So let me go and wait for your convocation. And I should come with my lawyers.
Like other political and civil society leaders, Albert Zongang reads in what turned out to be an interrogation, government's intimidation strategy to clamp down on opposition leaders and all contrary opinions.
When people don't have what to do for the best of their country, they use this sort of method.
The leadership of the country is aging, and those who have interests or who are planning what I can say is scientific coup d'etat are doing everything possible to muzzle those who may have dissenting voices.
Human rights advocate Barrister Tamfu Richard points to the risk of chaos that could emanate from government's repressive actions.
People are not free to express themselves. People are not free to say what they think. I'm sure that they will be influenced to look for other ways, and which would be regrettable, because if it continues like this, I am not surprised that the population may one day revolt, and probably we move into maybe civil disobedience or any chaos.
Observers continue urging government authorities to respect the Constitution of the Republic, other national and international laws duly signed and ratified by Cameroon, to avoid unrest, especially before, during and after the forthcoming presidential election.
And we will elaborate more on the subject in the second part of the news. But before that, CPDM activist Leon Taylor Onana has taken legal action to demand an ordinary Congress to nominate the party's candidate for the 2025 presidential election. He claims that the party's current leadership mandate has expired since 2011 and is advocating for Congress to rejuvenate the party and provide opportunities for new leadership. Onana argues that his expired mandate has led to lack of representation for the youth and the stagnation for the party's leadership. Fomi Amshong Sanda reports.
The Cameroon People's Democratic Movement, the CPDM party, is facing an internal crisis, and Leon Taylor Onana, a devoted CPDM party activist, has taken the matter to the court. Onana's lawsuit aims to appoint an ad hoc representative to organize an ordinary Congress, which is long overdue since the last one was held in 2011. This move comes at a critical time, just months before the 2025 presidential election in Cameroon, and raises questions about the party's governing body's legitimacy. The CPDM party's national president, Paul Biya, has been criticized for failing to convene the Congress, creating uncertainty around the nomination process of the party's presidential flag bearer. The internal tensions within the CPDM party are growing, with divisions and governance issues coming to the forefront. Onana's legal action may be a turning point for the party as it struggles to resolve its internal crisis and establish a united candidacy ahead of the critical 2025 presidential election. The CPDM party's history is marked by periods of dominance, having been the ruling party in Cameroon since its inception in 1985 in Bamenda in the northwest region. The current crisis threatens to undermine its stability and legitimacy. As the country prepares for the 2025 presidential elections, all eyes are on the CPDM's ability to resolve its internal issues and emerge stronger again.
Away from politics, Cameroon's recent ban on plastic bags marks a significant step towards a cleaner environment. But the lingering presence of plastic waste on streets and junctions remains a pressing concern. A young entrepreneur is bent on recycling the plastic waste into valuable resources. Malaglari takes us through the transformative process of turning discarded plastic into pavement blocks and diesel oil. Her report.
When plastic waste doesn't break down, they create serious threats to both health and the environment. To counter this, a young Cameroonian in the Douala 4, Bonaberry, has decided to collect this plastic waste and transform them into valuable items such as pavement blocks, plastic waste bags and diesel oil.
There are so many products that can be produced from plastic waste, such as buckets, plastic bags and many others. I and my team have been working for more than 10 years now, transforming plastic waste to pavement blocks.
Tons of plastic bags are collected every day around the city of Douala for recycling.
We buy a ton of plastic waste at 300,000 francs from hard-working youths or other associations, and that is how we contribute in fighting unemployment.
The process is well organized in order to achieve the required results.
Les salles sont mises d'un côté pour être lavées, les propres mises de côté pour pouvoir passer au niveau de la recycleuse. Nous obtenons ce qu'on appelle les granulés. Ces granulés sont formats qui sont conformes à la loi, notamment les plus de 61 microns.
The final products are overwhelming as the plastic waste are recycled to different products.
Sac poubelle, ça c'est le format 30 litres. Donc à la fin du process, nous avons un produit comme ceci. Nous mettons dans les cartons, comme vous pouvez les voir, selon le format désiré. Et ces cartons sont convoyés dans nos magasins pour être stockés et également selon le cas, on les livre chez les clients, selon les commandes que nous avons.
The young entrepreneur says that much can be done to transform waste to wealth. This is by including it into the school program, and above all, the government should give subvention to small enterprises. He believes that poor waste management will be a thing of the past if this technology is implemented all over Cameroon.
And straight away to our sports page, Cameroon's national football team, the EWULE, ended the FIFA window on a very high note, defeating the Mediterranean Knights in their latest FIFA World Cup qualifier match. This hard-fought victory brought relief to Cameroonians who are now urging head coach Mark Breeze to reassess his starting lineup ahead of the team's September regrouping. Smart Gabriel talked with two sports journalists who analyzed the team's performance. His report.
2 goals from captain Vincent Abubakar and a goal from Brian Buemo sealed all 3 points for the indomitable Lions at the end of match day 6 of the FIFA World Cup qualifiers, with supporters brandishing banners which thanked Mark Breeze for his exceptional qualities. The victory was much welcomed by Cameroonians and sports journalists.
It was a good one at home in front of their multiple supporters. Looking at the attacking formation of Mark Breeze, I think it was good. At least they were able to live up to their expectation. That midfielder as well too was not bad. They too were very, very rigorous at their duty posts. We saw how collaborative they were. That's the kind of unity we want.
It's a good game for the Lions because the essential was done, the victory, beating Libya by 3-1 and closing the gap to Cape Verde 1 point. I must say it was a good game. We scored 3, but we considered a goal.
The sport journalists, however, have worries which they expect the coach to address before the Lions' next outing.
Defense compartment of Mark Breeze. The boys of Mark Breeze who played at the defense last night were not upbeat. They were not able to live to the expected result that I wanted. That's why we had the blunder. Corrections to be made as well. We look forward to see the team qualify for the grand tournament.
My worry is that the coach needs to work on his tactical disposition. Keeping Basagok on the bench is somebody who can create the difference at any time for 90 minutes was not the best choice. We're expecting some other lads to be fielded on the field with some Gandhi age is on his side. Coach Mark Breeze and his team, they need to work a lot, concentrate, because all the 4 games remaining, they are finals as concerned Cameroon.
After match day 6, Group D of Cameroon is still in control of Cape Verde with a point ahead of the indomitable Lions. The next FIFA window that comes up in September will be determinant for the Lions, who must beat Eswatini in Cameroon before traveling to Praia to take on current group leaders Cape Verde, which will enable them to return to the top of Group D of the FIFA World Cup qualifiers.
That sports element ends this first part of the news. Talking Point is up next. My guest tonight is a human rights defender. He's known as Barrister lYONGA. Good evening, Barrister. It's a pleasure to have you on Talking Point tonight.
Thank you, Immaculate Fogwe. So it's a pleasure to me to be on Talking Points on Equinoxe television. You know, Equinoxe television is one of the highly watched televisions in Cameroon because it is out to bring to Cameroonians the truth about what is happening around the world and around their society. So it's a pleasure for me to be here.
Barrister, there are growing concern on crackdown on freedom of expression in Cameroon. How do you think this affects the democratic process?
Freedom of expression is one of the cornerstones of every democracy. And to restrict freedom of expression is going to affect issues of public debate, is going to affect citizens on how to hold their leaders accountable, and it is going to affect freedom of information. In Cameroon, the recent crackdown on freedom of expression, on dissent voices, is a very big challenge as it affects Cameroonians not to get engaged in their political life. Now we have issues of voter apathy. Cameroonians don't want to even get registered in the electoral register. This is because they feel that their voices will not be heard. So freedom of expression gives citizens the right to dialogue freely, to hold their leaders accountable, and that in Cameroon we see a lot of crackdown on dissent voices, and it's a violation of the right of citizens. In every democracy, we should have people who have diverse opinion, and that is a right that Cameroonians should enjoy.
Now, Barrister, Albert Zongang was summoned for stating that the way Elekam is handling things can lead to chaos. Another case is that of Parfait Vum, whom after describing the members of the BAS as a blessing, received a summon. Don't you think that criticizing the government is a fundamental right, and summoning someone for expressing their opinion is a form of intimidation in this country?
Criticizing the government is one of fundamental rights which are protected in all international human rights instruments and even under the Cameroonian constitution. The actions of summoning Albert Zongang and Parfait Vum, it shows a type of intimidation and judicial harassment, which we are condemning in the strongest term. In any democratic society, they should be able to allow citizens to bring out constructive criticism, which is going to help to build a nation. Now, when you intimidate, when you summon these people, you are sending a message which is how to discourage other Cameroonians to either participate in governance or expressing themselves. A government should be able to allow its citizens to criticize it constructively. The criticism should be constructive. And the criticism on Elekam, that Elekam should be able to put out a list of voters, should be able to make sure that the elections are free and transparent. That is a constructive idea that should be welcomed by the parties. Not instead to someone to either intimidate or harass the maker of the statement. The one of the anti-Sardina, we condemn it. It can never be a blessing. And we say that even if the law has given the right for persons to make statements, but the statement should not be hate speech, because no Cameroonian will be happy to see that another Cameroonian is like a minister is being harassed or is being brutalized. We will condemn it in the strongest possible, in the strongest of the term. We cannot say that Brigade Anti-Sardina attack on our minister is something that we should encourage. We should condemn it in the strongest possible term. But the issue of continuous harassment or summoning of Cameroonians who express themselves constructively for the development of our nation should be condemned in the strongest term. Cameroon is not a banana republic. It is a country that is protected by the constitution and by international conventions that Cameroon has signed and ratified.
Political party members who try to decry political maneuvers are threatened with imprisonment for speaking out against the government. What image does this action project about the political landscape in this country?
Threatening of political parties or political leaders who express themselves about the political landscape is a serious violation of the Constitution and other international instruments that Cameroon has signed and ratified. Cameroon is a democratic nation. It's not an authoritarian nation wherein political dissent are threatened and cracked down. And no well-wished Cameroonian is going to accept that opposition or other political leaders are threatened or harassed. But this has been the actions of some persons in the ruling party. And we are using this platform to condemn and to say that we want a level playing field this 2025. We are having presidential elections. We want a level playing field where all political parties are free to campaign, are free to express themselves. 2 days ago, the CPDM were celebrating their 40th anniversary. We saw it all over how they were celebrating. Why do you want to crack down on other political parties who are out to also express themselves? Cabral Libir, I just read on social media that the DO of one place has banned him from launching his book. We don't need this. It gives a very bad image. It destroys the good reputation of our nation.
Some observers are of the opinion that the declarations of the Minister of Territorial Administration, Paul Atanganji, especially towards political parties, is more of provocation, threatening the stability of this nation. What analysis can you make of this in terms of respect of freedoms of individuals?
Government official statement is interpreted as threats and intimidation. It goes on to create an atmosphere of fear and hostility, which rhetorics is out to change the perspective of things, because government officials' statements should be out to bring peace, should be out to bring unity, and should be out to create social cohesion. The statements from the ministers sometimes are being looked at as threatening, because in a democratic system, a minister should be able to speak to other Cameroonians as brothers. We Cameroonians, we are the ones that have put him there. You should be able to talk to us with some level of respect. By you talking to us in a manner that we interpret it as being rude, as being hostile, and as being threatening to us, to other political leaders, it instead brings division. At a time that we are going towards a presidential election, I think that the manner of approach, the manner of speaking from our government officials should change, should be about preaching peace, preaching unity, and preaching social cohesion. This is a very delicate period in the history of our country. We are going towards an election year, and it's a time that people can rely on one statement and cause a type of public disorder. So we should be careful with what we say. Personally, I don't have any problem with any government official, but this is a clarion call that government officials should watch what they say. They should watch how they present their words. Because if Cameroonians continue to see it as if the statements is to crack down from their freedom of expression, I think that it will not be good for our democracy.
Barrister EWULE lYONGA, human rights defender, thank you so much for your time. And that's what put an end to today's edition of the 6 p.m. primetime newscast on Equinoxe Television. Thank you so much for always watching. Coming up next is the program Equinoxe, so I'll search Along Odu and his guests. From us to you over there, have a wonderful evening. Bye-bye for now.